Coming up on Talk is Cheap, we got some artifacts, some crazy looking artifacts, and a guy has sex with an alien and has DNA proof. Up next on Talk is Cheap. Welcome to Talk is Cheap, where cheap is talk is cheap. I am Dan Hohlfeld, and with me as always,
Dusty Long, Peter Halbleib.
And today, we got a little assortments. We're going to talk about some artifacts, and I got an interesting sex alien case, but that's later. Pete, do you want to start things off?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, as we dig into the deep recesses of the internet and try to find cool stuff to talk about on this show, one thing that constantly pops up is out-of-place artifacts. And I know, Dusty, you're familiar with this. Dan, I think you've scraped the subject a little bit. So what I've done is I found one out-of-place artifact example. And when I say one, it's the subject is just one subject because they've actually found dozens of examples of this. Mm-hmm. And I guess I'll just dive right in, show you the video. It'll be really quick, and then we'll get down to business. All right, here we go.
So they got a date on those?
You know, I'll just put that out. I mean, look at how interesting that is. I mean, we've got obviously rocks are not going to be like just 150 years old and whatnot, but it is very intriguing. Like this photo here we're looking at, you know, I could possibly buy that this is some sort of sea creature or something from prehistoric times. Sure. that beds in.
Because it does bend like that.
Yep, and you see if you look above that, and you see there's that kind of weird thing going on there. But now, you know, you look at something like that, not so much, right? Yep. I mean, that looks to be very precise, and it's in a hunk of rock.
I like that one the best.
There was one that really looked.
So, you know, there's another one, and that's in like some sort of quartzy like stuff there.
Yeah, that's definitely something.
You know, and they're finding all sorts of weird stuff embedded in rocks. I know in an earlier episode that we did, you talked about this brass bell that was found when they blew up some rocks, and it was found in the 1800s. So it's. How in the heck are these getting in here? Is this some elaborate hoax that somebody's somehow breaking these parts out, putting screws in, and getting them back together? And it's not like it's just one example either. I mean, here we've got 3-4 examples of something that surely looks like it's man-made, machined, and then found in the rocks.
Yeah, I agree a lot. The last one I liked the picture of that, the one we stopped on the first time, because it actually looked like a bolt head and at the ends of each side with the screw between it. And
that was the one.
And it's just a couple.
Like you said, this I could see being some kind of an animal maybe of some sort.
And then,
but that's that looks like a deck screw. But that one there,
yeah, look at that.
The ends, that looks like a tip of a bolt and then the nut at the bottom.
But if you had to guess, what date you think, or how long ago you think this would be?
Within rock?
Yeah.
I mean, where do you even start? I mean, rock isn't. I mean, unless you're talking, I guess, volcanic type eruptions and igneous rock that comes off of volcanoes. But that certainly doesn't look like anything like that. And
I can't even remember the research I've done on them. I really can't remember a date.
My mind is blown so much just for the fact that they're in there. I don't care if they're 1 million years or 600 million years. Yeah. It's just, it doesn't make sense. We're not forming different types of rocks in just the last few hundred years when screws. And a couple of those photos, looked like they were, machined with some pretty decent accuracy.
And on top of that, the research I've done, which I love this subject, I really do, and I've read a lot of stuff. Most of this is dating back to when there was, dinosaurs. We're talking millions of years. That kind of holds credit to the whole idea. I believe that we were advanced at one time, because you don't have dinosaur bones sticking out of the earth now. You have to dig for them. So if there was a more advanced civilization, and they did happen to walk with dinosaurs or something, by now it would be coal, lava and those types of things, and sandstone and that whatnot. Any kind of materials that can decompose would have been decomposed by now, and then anything else. And like these screws, there's also I thought we were going to do the when you said screws, there's some more in China that they're spirals, and just really crazy stuff that it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, highly advanced hardware found in this. What I find interesting about it too is when rock forms, it's in a molten state, and you'd think anything metal would be melted at that time, and it wouldn't retain its shape. You wouldn't see the screw threads and things like that. So was it somehow inserted after the rock was already hardened? If so, what were people screwing into rocks, hundreds of thousands of years ago or whatever? Because if you, let's say, a rock or through time travel or previous advanced civilization, somebody drops a screw and then rock goes to form over it with all the heat and the pressure, you'd think that screw would be flattened. I can take a screw and hit it with a hammer, and it's going to deform. And you saw in those photos, some of those were nearly perfect. Right. Yeah.
Well,
some of them, not all of them.
And some of this stuff could be, sandstone. It could be formed other than in a magma, type of atmosphere. Yeah. You have sandstone. It could have been dropped in the ocean at some point in time, and now it's just coming back to where we see it. There's so many of these things that have been found in stone and coal and whatnot. And these are, coal is vegetation that has sat under the earth for millions of years to be compressed and turned into coal. So it's amazing that maybe, how many times do we drop pennies or screws when you're working on a deck or something, you drop that within 1 million or 2 million years, someone might be like, oh, look at this artifact.
If it is not exposed to the rain, the temperature, the oxidation, and things of that nature.
Yeah, it's going to become rock sometime.
Yeah, eventually. Yeah, and so it's just, again, one of those things that's just to try to wrap your head around it. If this was one thing, or they were finding it in a certain area, it's hard. It's a little easier to explain. Somebody's hoaxing or something happened, but these are popping up in Europe, America, South America. This is not an isolated incident.
Yep. Absolutely. Otherwise, it's hard to say it's a hoax when you see it all over.
Yeah.
And at this degree, that's pretty extensive. The only thing I haven't found in my research on these types of things, though, is I haven't heard about them actually taking the screw apart and trying to figure out what I haven't read anything on that. I haven't read anything.
Did they dig around it? Is that how they got these?
Yeah, it looks like that. They went in there and exposed it a little bit. How did they know it was in there in the first place? Yeah. There's a lot. Again, more questions than answers. This is a theme I keep bringing up every time. It's like you're asking me questions I don't know. I guess
more research needs to be done.
Yeah, absolutely. If someone's out there watching this has a great explanation, we look forward to your comments and chime in and let us know your thoughts on that.
Absolutely. Well, let's take it over to Dano's
sex.
All right, let's talk about some sex.
I'm cautiously optimistic about what we're about to talk about.
Aliens. Talk about you.
And we do have a video.
And it wasn't the guy's fault.
It wasn't his fault?
No.
He just kind of
tripped and stumbled into it.
Yeah. I'm going to start it at a minute in here, and I'll stop it before it's over. But I'll just let it speak for itself.
Had an experience or heard of experiences that have happened during the day, and this is 7:15 in the morning. I'm lying there and I feel like something jumped on the bed like a cat.
So this
As I sit up, I see sitting
that's the alien sex
a
guy.
naked blonde female, and sitting on the corner of the bed. So say I'm lying here on the bed, she's straddling me there, and right on the corner here is another female. The one that was sitting on top of me was
she's watching.
Blonde, very milky white skin, very, very attractive, but at the same time, longer face, a long nose, but it wasn't a big nose again. It was just like it fitted their features very well. Larger eyes, very well
I like the guy's
proportioned.
shirt.
I mean, I've got to say. And I'm thinking, what the hell is going on here? How did you get in here? And as I'm thinking this, I sit up, and as I sit up, she's cupped the back of my head with both her hands and pulled me to her left breast, and pushed my face into it. My defense mechanism, whatever you want to call it, and it's so out of thing with me, I took a little bite, a nip, and I felt flesh, in my mouth. I didn't taste blood or anything, but I felt this bit of flesh in my mouth. I thought it was a bit of a nipple maybe. And as it hit the back of my throat, it was like you poured acid down the back of my throat, just this really bad chemical reaction. I started coughing, very heavy coughing, and as I've looked down and coughed, I've looked up and I saw them looking at each other, and I picked up what they were saying. They weren't speaking, but it was telepathic communication. Again, it was, he's done this wrong, something's gone wrong, this isn't the way it's supposed to be, he's done this wrong. And I'm like, what the heck, what are you going on about? I could pick on it, I could hear it. I had an erection for like 6 hours afterwards, and it was pretty painful. And under my foreskin, I found 2 hairs. One was like an S shape, almost curled, and the other one was sort of not up, it was just wrapped around, embedded in though, like if you push your nail into, you get a little bit of a mark. That's what they were embedded. I could see that they weren't on the surface. And as I tried to take them off, peel them off, it was total agony. And so I knew it had to be from them.
Peter released his sample for DNA analysis, which was conducted by a biochemist. The results that came back were extremely unusual.
And mate, I was bombarded with phone calls from the scientists. Come to our house, took hair samples from me, hair samples from Vivian, blood from me. So it was starting to get like a forensic investigation.
So gain some
what they
traction
found
in the
was,
scientific
He's got some
community.
the DNA evidence from the hair.
the analysis confirmed the hair came from someone who was biologically close to normal human genetics, but of an unusual racial type, a rare Chinese Mongoloid type, one of the rarest human lineages known, that lies further from the human mainstream than any other, except for African pygmies and aborigines. There was a strange anomaly of it being blonde to clear instead of black, as it would be expected from the Asian type mitochondrial DNA. The study concluded the most probable donor, therefore, must be, as Curie claims, a tall blonde female who does not need much colour in her hair or skin as a form of protection against the sun, perhaps because she doesn't require it.
So, yeah, later on he undergoes a polygraph test and he comes back that he was telling the truth.
No shit.
So what do you think about that?
I don't ever get visits like that.
I'm about speechless on this one.
Because I was going to make fun of this motherfucker all day long. Until you got to the hair, it's like, oh shit, that's going to wrench in that joke.
That's really compelling. That the DNA came back like that, and I mean, it goes to it puts some credence in some other alien type stories where they take samples and it looks to be it's mostly human but with a mutation and things like that. So it's maybe the aliens are not that different from us to begin with. But one comment I did want to make about polygraph tests is that they're not reliable. And people can pass them and fail them when, they can pass them when they're lying and they can fail them when they're telling the truth. It's got a lot to do with people's natural reactions to that scenario. If this gentleman truly believed to himself that this happened, he could still pass a polygraph test. Of course, with this DNA evidence...
that's hard to do.
I don't know. This is crazy, man. Absolutely nuts. It's weird, I mean, telepathy, that's a common theme in some of these alien encounters. The 6-hour erection.
That sounds like a bad Viagra trip.
Yeah, I mean, it's 2 hours past the Viagra thing, so he could have been in some serious trouble.
I wonder if it was almost not like an agreement like beforehand, or like, sometimes ETs can time travel or whatever, like, because they said it gone wrong. It wasn't supposed to go that way.
Yeah, like did they try to mind manipulate this guy and he had some sort of makeup in him that it didn't work, and
Right.
I think what they probably figured is if you have a naked woman waking you up in bed, you ain't gonna bitch about it.
Yeah, right.
Hello.
Yeah.
Must be my lucky day.
Yeah.
Where's the pinata too?
Yeah, I mean, it certainly sounded like she was ready to go. I mean,
No, there's two of them. That doesn't happen every day.
yeah,
Some people dream all day and it never happens.
Yeah, I know, and I mean, I see on the
That's something to go for that, but I can't.
I know that it says proof here and all that, but
No, I seriously, I was gonna make
it's-
fun of the living shit out of this guy until you got to the fucking hairs, and I was like, wow, that's kind of sealed it for me. I mean,
well, and how they were, it sounded like embedded kind of in his skin, almost downstairs, if you will.
she was really like sitting right on him.
Yes, yeah.
Like, hello, sailor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's crazy. It's interesting, and it's not the first time I've heard about that, but this is the first time I've ever seen a video with DNA.
I was actually clicking through on YouTube. I think I found. I was like, bullshit. And then I watched it. It was such a short video. I watched the whole thing. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, crazy. I kind of wish we would have seen like some video footage or something like that. But that's just me, Again, this is one of the great things about Talk is Cheap.
Always
is
wear your GoPro.
Yeah, that's good. Always wear your GoPro, even when you're sleeping. And that's one of the greatest things about Talk is Cheap is because you come across stuff like this, and you got little parts of your mind just getting blown, and you're trying to wrap your head around it, and I'm not going to get anything done for the next 3 weeks at work while I go through and research naked alien sex, so.
I don't do that at work.
I was going to say, I'd probably
It's
lose my
definitely
job.
a nice way to take care of the morning wood, though. That's for sure.
Yeah. That is insane. Or Dusty, what do you have? I'm glad I went first because that is a tough act to follow.
I'm just done. Fuck it. I got nothing to follow it. Actually, I picked this for Dan. Yeah, I found an article that I knew he would be interested in, and I like doing that for the co-hosts.
Of course.
So, what we're going to cover is this video is top 7 allegedly alien-made mysterious artifacts. Again, artifacts. I love that shit. But this one is, I think it's kind of near and dear to Dan's heart. Him and I have talked about this a little bit. And this is a reptilian statue that was found in, Iraq or Saudi Arabia, someplace there. They'll tell you.
Are we looking at 2 different statues here?
Yes.
Okay,
yes, we
okay.
are. So it's a quick clip. There's not going to be much, but I know Dan will have some comments on it. I just kind of want to get his viewpoints. And then, of course, I want to say something about his... So I'll go ahead and let this play.
Endowed.
Yes, wow, so I do have some pornographic material on mine, too. Thank you. Yep.
We rolled right in.
Yeah.
Well, we know they got a penis.
Iraq.
Oh, it's a shame that they're just blowing up that whole area.
I can't...
That keyboard's a pain in the ass.
Can you see the bottom line?
Well, you gotta play it and then move the mouse so it goes down. Just leave the mouse, it'll go away.
Jesus. Well, it's going to be too late by the time it fucking goes. Oh.
Oh, that was
That's
it.
all it was. Though I've read a little bit more on this because, Dan, I know that you do like this.
The whole thing is, what, you don't believe reptilians exist? Is that the problem?
I wouldn't say I don't believe in it. It's just like aliens from outer space. I can put credence in because there's a lot of space out there, and I don't believe that we're the most advanced civilization and all that crazy shit. When I talk to people about the reptilians, they're all underground currently, living in some kind of hive, and I think Doctor Who, actually, which I'm a huge fan of that, had something to do with reptilians. Oh, they did. There's a reptilian race and whatnot.
Yeah, Land of the Lost.
Yep. And I have an issue with that because it's blasted hot. You get down there, you got pressure and heat. To the point where, we would die if we stay there too long. And with all the drilling going on and everything else, it's hard for me to kind of fathom this whole reptilian race under the earth. However, I'm not completely blind or saying it's not a possibility. It's just, I'd like to see a little bit more proof than the But it's these things, and a little bit I've read. But like I said, I've only started doing a little research on it.
I'll have to see if I can find something more proof positive. Do you know anything off the top of your
Well,
head?
not any obviously no proof or anything, but the way I kind of approach this whole lizard race of people is that lizards were on the planet hundreds of millions of years prior to mammals, okay? Prior to primates. So who's to say in that time frame there wasn't a species of lizards that gained intelligence, kind of like what happened with humans and monkeys and the primate line? I mean, there's only Homo sapiens, there's one primate out there that was able to somehow bridge that gap, get creative, develop technology, and form societies and things of that nature. Why couldn't it have happened 100, 200 million years before we even, our species ever even roamed the earth? We have talked prior on this show about the number of mass extinctions that the earth has gone through. If we're going through one right now, as some scientists say, we already know that our government has underground bases and there's countries that have underground cities ready to go in case that. Who's to say that they didn't do that and then they just stayed there for, they had to stay there for such a long time.
That's home now, huh?
Yeah, right? I'm not saying it's probable, but it's not impossible.
The other side of the coin is why would they build a statue like this then?
That's where I was going to go. That's what gives me that's what gives me some faith in it. Is
they've
really
obviously came in contact, right?
All right.
Yeah, they're humanoid. They're reptilian faced. And this is I've seen a lot of pictures. Like I said, I've done a little research. I haven't dived too deep into it, but
and that one on the left looks just weird. It's like almost like the Predator,
Or the what is it on Battlestar Galactica?
Cylon.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah, I mean it's got the slit eyes and the elongated head. That's.
Well, I was gonna say the other thing is like the reptilian face. Of course, if you go into ancient or Egyptology, you have Horus and you have all the the dog, the cat, the lion, all that stuff as heads. So I always kind of went to, since it does have like a penis, like maybe this is some kind of fertility thing that for an ancient civilization or a race.
Hey, can we agree on what kind of reptile that head is on there?
I'd say iguana if I were to say anything. Nah, I'm not greatest at these things, but to me it reminds me of an iguana. Or a Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Maybe they were worshiping that and then just put. Thank you, Dan, for really pointing out what the.
That's what I was talking about. Was
Some people might not know where it is.
What are you saying about our?
Yeah.
If you don't know where your penis is or what one is, this is episode for 18 plus. We need to have that disclaimer.
Yeah. We're certainly skating into some areas here that are.
I do like it though. I know that Danny brought up the reptilian thing before, and I want to look into it and find something on it.
Yeah, I gotta find something more.
I would like to see more.
Groundbreaking. I always bring your groundbreaking.
Yeah, I would really like to see a little something more on it. I really would, because, I mean, to me it could be an ancient race, because some of the research doesn't really follow that it's a helmet to be worn or something. But at the same time, I haven't done a lot. I just wanted to kind of bring it up for Dan.
Yeah, and one thing, I mean, this lizard race, alien or even just pre-human lizard race is not something that Dan's just pulling out of the air. I mean, this is a theory that's gained some traction.
It really has.
Globally.
Yeah. Yes, it really has.
So truth can be stranger than fiction.
True.
The whole New World Order agenda is, if you look into that, they're basically saying that the whole reptiles are behind all that. Reptilians are.
And so, not to get too far off base, so reptilians would be just one of many alien species that are affecting us.
Son of a bitch, that explains global warming. They're
cold-blooded,
warm the place up. Come on.
That would also explain how they could live closer to the center of the Earth, where it is warmer.
I mean, true.
Isn't it going to be an ice age now, though? They're saying.
Who the fuck knows, man? That's a whole nother discussion.
I just don't like winter. That's all I'm saying.
I just don't like it. So maybe part of the reason why they went underground is that because of an ice age hit, and it covered most of the planet with.
So you'd have to go deep in the earth to find warmth to stay alive.
Yeah,
I mean, I can agree with it.
There's lots of potential explanations.
I've seen cases of reptilians coming up and like fucking women and stuff.
Oh,
yeah,
awesome.
This is very pornographic.
This is a bad episode.
Yeah. Well, you know.
Well, you have blonde Nordic women or Mongolian women, acid nipples. I mean, I'm just. I don't know. I like the idea. I think we should do some more research.
I think
some more shit.
you know, comment on the acid nipples. I think that everybody at some point, you know, in our lives here has you know, maybe gotten a little frisky with a gal who's had a little too much perfume on. And you know,
that's true.
And it tastes bitter or whatever, and it could have burned. So maybe she just got a little crazy with the Chanel No. 5 or whatever it is.
Well, like you said, my defense kicked in. Wait, that's what happens when a woman grabs you and throws you in your tit. You're like, get away from me.
And the idiot should have spit the damn thing out.
Yeah, why is he swallowing it?
Yeah, why in the hell is he swallowing it?
I was gonna rip on this guy, but I don't have to anymore. I was gonna bitch. He was bitching about having a boner for 6 hours, but it's like,
yeah, he threw a fit about having 2 chicks.
yeah.
Forcefully, like, grabbed me. Like,
and he admitted that she was good looking.
Yeah.
So.
And then he didn't have the erection because something she did. He was like, "Fuck!" He just stayed up there like that. That mean.
He should have gotten a blood sample and seen what they slipped him. A little Mickey in the cocktail or something. Got him.
What it was, he was at a costume party. Yeah. Too much perfume. He got a little roofied up.
Somebody found a mysterious Mongolian and stuck it on his dick. Mongolian ear.
Yeah.
I don't want to get caught, so I'm just going to take this, wrap it around tight.
Yeah, the ultimate practical joker. The guy probably worked on it for years before he pulled it off.
Well, then he also says, like, it was agony taking it off. I mean, it's a fucking hair, bro.
Well,
I don't know.
Apparently it was embedded just under his skin, and I'm like...
His foreskin. Pull like a Band-Aid. Rip! Done!
Oh.
Well, anyway, I tell you, if I wake up...
This episode is going to need some serious editing.
No, keep it the way it is. Just keep on disclaimering this.
We're making a joke out of this, but this is serious business, folks.
Oh, it is.
So,
yeah.
We're having a good time with it.
Yeah, you get us in a room together, we start talking about it. Obviously, alien sex is going to come up, and we're still...
And all of us want that, ultimately, right?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, you know, Japan, they love that tentacle sex shit over there, so, I mean...
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I like I said though, I really wanted to rip on that poor bastard just like we just did, but that fucking hair
and all.
You can't really say, oh, the guy just found this random hair somewhere.
And why would he come out and make up a story like that?
Yeah,
you know,
just make him look stupid.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, you could come up with some way more plausible
stories.
stories.
He seriously mentioned his foreskin on fucking like TV. I don't think
no holds barred, man. He was dropping the truth, boom, truth bomb right there, man.
He wasn't fucking around, which is great. So I mean, you gotta give him a little credit because I don't know too many people are gonna make up a story about their foreskin and being half raped by 2 chicks and then fighting
and then not going
off.
through it. I mean, he said she was good looking gal, and
all his buddies are drinking around, dumbass.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, these are all great articles. I had this is a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I feel bad. The only thing that I really brought to this episode was
how do we get back on alien sex? We were talking about lizard statues.
Because Dano had to draw a picture.
Yeah,
it's like a bullseye. Right. If you don't know what a penis is on a lizard,
and
this is your reference.
I'm still 14 years old inside, so
I know. Don't I know? Yeah. I'll never grow up. Well, I really appreciate you fellas bringing up some great things.
Yeah, good stuff.
I wish I had a little bit more to this one because I think Dano stole the show.
Well, yeah, he absolutely did. But Dusty, the great thing about this is that we can talk about out-of-place artifacts until we're blue in the face. There will be more discussions about this stuff, and it's really, really cool stuff. What people are finding in the ground and what it represents, and how it all ties together with all of the different subjects we talk about on here.
And we're not going to have very many videos on alien porn, so I'm really glad we got to hit that.
Yeah.
Although, you know
it's
what?
It's a rare topic.
Yeah, I'm going to start searching for it more. I don't want to have you have the only alien porn video. I want to bring one to the table.
Well, Pete, thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it. Maybe we'll come back again and
absolutely love it. It's great.
Yeah.
It's great.
Well, thank you for joining us this week on Talk is Cheap. If you like the show, check out others on the network. We got Social Fix, Dan and Mac. Great stuff there, guys. And we'll see you next time.
I'm not ready yet. I have a quick question. Would you fucking alien?
Hell yeah!
Would you?
You might after this guy describes it.
Why wouldn't you, man? You'd be like one of the few people on the planet to do that.
But what if it was just like a weird looking
like globule thing with
well,
spikes
even if it was like
down
a
there,
gray,
so I
would
don't know.
you do a gray?
Not a grade, no.
Like
I would. Well, it depends. Now, do I?
Nordic ones.
Can I give it the way I like to, or do I have to like do what?
It's got to be the way the alien wants it. I mean, if he
Yeah,
wants to ET probe your ass, you got to take it.
Okay, no.
Okay.
If we're talking about reverse cowboying and Nordic or something, sure.
Oh,
you
what about you, Andy? You gonna do a gray?
No.
I don't even think they have a hole down there.
I suppose you can get a drill and make one. It's still quivering. It's okay.
Well, it's got a mouth. Cool.
Yeah, but that only opens.
It's like, how do you say hi in your language?
It'd be even tighter.
Oh God!
Get on your knees, little gray. I'll show you how we say
back
hi.
to business, folks.
Yeah. All right.